Hi, this is Kate from Izzalicious Designs. Well, back in April I made my first little owl and showed everybody, and they really liked it, and I've been so busy with the Izzy Busy doll I never actually got to do the tutorial on my little owl, and I know owls are quite popular out there at the minute, so I thought that I would do just that right now. This is my owl. You can see he's got his little eyebrows, his little ears, his beak and his eyes. He's very simple. He's got little wings, very nice and simple to make. The colours that I'm using today, you're going to need two different colours. Well, you don't. You can do whatever colour you like. I've chosen to do one colour for the bottom part of him and his eyes, and then the bottom part of his wings I've done the same, and then the rest of him I've done a solid colour. It's completely up to you how you do it though. For this one that I'm doing with you today, I'm actually using, this was a new band that I got from Rainbow Loom, and they are sort of like I didn't keep the package, but they're a mix. They're jelly, and they've got the blue, the white and the purple, and they're glittery, but I'm afraid I didn't keep the package to tell you, so I'm doing that for the bottom part of the wing and the bottom part of the owl. And then I'm using, now this is from Kieran Stores, and this is a grey mauve, a grey purple colour, which I think is really very pretty. It's not a colour that you can actually get from Rainbow Loom, but I'm sure you could use any different kind of purple. The only reason that I'm using this one is because this is the state of my Rainbow Loom purple at the minute, but that would go beautifully as well if you were to just use the Rainbow Loom regular opaque purple. So I have an order in for more purple. So those are the two colours, as I said, that I'm going to use. We are also going to use the 9mm safety eyes, toy safety eyes. We're going to be making two of these eyes like this. I've made one, but I'll make the other one with you. Two wings. I've made one wing, and I'll make the other one with you. I'm using stitch markers. I use these, but you can just use your normal little C-clips. They work just as well, or an S-clip. It works just as well. You don't have to worry about that. So let's get started. We're going to start by doing a magic ring with 5 bands. Now you can use your loom, a peg of your loom, to do that. I quite like to. I find it's very easy to show you what I'm doing. If you don't need to use a loom, you can just use your hook. Please, if you haven't already done so, check out my beginner's guide to Loomigurumi. There's also a playlist I have which is tips and tricks for Loomigurumi, and it has all the different stitches that I've worked out how to do so far. If you haven't done this before, have a look at that before you embark on something like this. Our magic ring, I'm going to take one band, wrap it around my hook once and twice. That gives us 3 little loops. Okay, now I said we're doing a magic ring of 5, so get 5 bands. Now I'm just picking these randomly out of this. There's no rhyme or reason to it. I'm going to poke my hook down and take one band, pull it through, and we'll do our magic ring. I am making the presumption that you know how to do all of these stitches, so I'm not going to be going super slow. So I'm doing my magic ring of 5. And taking it off my loom, budge these around so that they're evenly spaced. Now I appreciate it's going to be a little bit tricky because I'm using different coloured bands to do this, but I think it's going to look quite pretty, which is why I want to continue with this. I am going to zoom in so you can see better what I'm doing. So here is my first stitch. I'm going to go through my first stitch. Now we're doing an increase in our first round. So my first round, here's my first stitch, pulling it through, and this is my first stitch. So I'm putting my stitch marker on that. Come here, you. Jelly bands, they're slippery. Going back through that first stitch for my second single crochet, which is an increase, as you know. Here's my second stitch. My first single crochet and my second single crochet. Here's my third stitch. 1 and 2, fourth stitch, 1 and 2, fifth stitch, 1 and 2. Back to the beginning, go through my first stitch. This round is going to be an increase followed by a single crochet. So here's our first stitch, move your stitch marker, and then we do a single an increase in the next stitch. So 1 and 2, and then a single, and then the next stitch an increase, 1 and 2, a single, and then an increase. Oopsie, let's try that again. A single, and an increase. A single, and we finish on an increase. Here's our first stitch again, go through it. Now we're doing a single crochet, two single crochets followed by an increase. So put your stitch marker on that. That was our first single crochet. The next stitch is our second single crochet, and now we do an increase. And then 2 single crochets. There's our first single crochet in one stitch. Here's our next single crochet in the following stitch, and now an increase. And then we'll do a single crochet, a single crochet, and an increase. A single crochet, a single crochet, and an increase. A single crochet, a single crochet, and finish on an increase. Back to our first stitch. Now we're going to do 3 single crochets followed by an increase. There's our first one. Move our stitch marker. So that's number 1, 2, 3, and we do an increase in this stitch. And then 3 again and an increase. 1, 2, 3, and then an increase. 3, 1, 2, 3. Here's our increase. and then 3 and an increase, 1, 2, 3, we do an increase in this stitch, 1, oops, 2, 3, and we finish on an increase. Here's our first stitch again. Now we're doing 4 and an increase. Here's our first stitch. Move your stitch marker. That was 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we do our increase. So that's 2 single crochets in the same stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4, and an increase. 1, 2, 3, 4, and an increase. Oops. Come back here, Rogue Loom Band. And then 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and an increase. 1, 2, 3, 4, and we finish on an increase. Now, at this point, we're going to do 4 rounds of single crochet in these mixed colours, okay? So 4 rounds, and then we're going to do 6 rounds in the plain opaque. So I'm going to put out 4 bands, 1, 2, 3, and 4 of the mixed colours. I've just put those here, okay? Sorry, there you go, 4, and then I'm going to do 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. This indicates my rounds, and I'm just doing single crochet. So here's my first stitch, and I'll take one from this pile of multicoloured, and we go around. Change your stitch marker. I'm going to zoom out a little bit now because otherwise you're going to miss what I'm doing. There we go. So we go all the way around, single crochet, no increases, just single crochet. And we do 4 rounds of the multicolour, and then we do 6 rounds of the plain opaque colour. And I will catch you back when we have all done that, because otherwise this video is going to take forever, and you'll all moan at me that my videos are too long and I talk too much and I go too fast. So this is our first round of single crochet only. You're going to do 3 more after this with the mixed colour, or the colour that you're using, and then you can change it if you want to make it two-tone. If you don't want to make it two-tone, you just keep going. You're going to be doing a total of 10 rounds of single crochet only, with no increases and no decreases. Okay, so I will catch you back when we're at the same spot. So I'm back and I'm on my very last, this is my very last stitch here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through my first stitch for the next round, just like this, and put my stitch marker on. So I know that I've done stitch number 1. Okay, so hopefully yours looks like this too. Well, if whatever colours you've chosen, it might not look exactly like this, but somewhat similar in shape at least. Now, what we need to do now is put the wings on. Well, I've made one, but we need to make the other one, so we'll do that together. Okay, so if you haven't got a stitch marker, just use a little C clip or an S clip, that works just as well. So for the wings, we're going to do a magic ring of 5, and we are going to start with our multicolored. So I'm using doing the two-tone again, and I'm using multicolored, but you use whatever ones you like. As I said, when I did this one, I did this sort of reddish gold two-tone band, and then I did a normal color one. So it's completely up to you how you do it. Magic ring of 5. So here's our first peg. We're going to wrap around it once and twice and 3 times, so that we have 3 little loops there. Okay, and as I said, it's 5, so let's get 5 bands out. There we are. 3, 4, 5. You're going to do 2 of these. I'm just doing 1 to show you. Go. There's my magic ring. Let's take that off. Move my loom. We'll budge this around. There we are. Lovely jubbly. Now we're going to do an increase. So go through your first stitch. It's not this little knobbly bit here. It's the first little teardrop shape you can see here. Want me to zoom in a bit? There we go. Let's make sure we're in focus. Lovely. All right. Our first stitch. Here we go. And we're going to put our stitch marker on there, just so that we know where our beginning is. And now we're going to go back through that first stitch and do another one, another single crochet right in there, because we're doing an increase all the way around. So each stitch has 2 single crochets in it to go from the 5 stitches that we started with in our magic ring to 10 stitches. So there we have 10 stitches. Now we're going to do a single crochet followed by an increase. So here's my first stitch here. I'm going to go through my first stitch. We do a single crochet, move my stitch marker, and in the next stitch we do an increase. And then a single crochet. And an increase. And a single crochet. And an increase. Single crochet, make sure we're in the right one. Yep, we're going in the clear one this time. Single crochet and an increase. single crochet, and we finish on an increase. Now we're going to do 7 rounds of single crochet. Okay, let's count how many we're going to do. We're going to do one more round in the, so we've got, if you have a look at this one, okay, we've got our magic ring, and then we've got 1 and 2. Okay, so there's this magic ring, 1 and 2 in colours. So we've got this magic ring, we've got 1 and 2. So now we change to our plain colour, and we're going to do a slip stitch because we're changing colour. There we go. Move your stitch marker, and we go all the way around just doing single crochets. And this is my first round. I'm doing 6 more rounds after this, so let's put 2, 4, 5, let's put 6 bands there. That can be my band, my round counter band pile. Broke the fingernail on my index and my thumb yesterday on my left hand. It feels very funny trying to pick things up when I'm so used to having the nails there. It's odd suddenly having no nails there. It feels weird. It's funny how you get used to something, isn't it? Okay, I'm back to the beginning. Skip that little slip stitch. You're going in through your first stitch and taking one from this little pile, and move your stitch marker, and around we go again. Now you don't have to change colours, so we just keep going. We're doing continuous rounds. Move your stitch marker, and I can meet you back here when we have all done the same amount of rounds. As I said, it's 7 in total, and I've got 4 left. Well, after I finish this one. So I'll see you back when we've all done 7. Well, you've got to do 2. So do 2 of these, and then we'll catch each other back, and I'll show you how to attach them to the body, and then we'll do the eyes and the beak, and we'll tie off, and Bob's your uncle. Well, he might not be, but there you go. Alright, catch you back in a minute. Alright, so we are back, and we have done 2 of our little wings here, and we're going to attach them to our main body. Now what we're going to do, this is the back, they're going to go either side, so I'm going to squish it flat like this, okay, and I'm going to put a marker band either side so that I know. I'm going to choose a different colour actually. Let's pick a bright colour so we can easily see it. Here we go. So one this side and one on the opposite side, which is going to go about here. So this is where we're going to attach our arms. Now, when we squish this down, what you're going to notice is that you've got sort of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and possibly 6. Okay, so we're going to, this is going to be 3 in the middle. We're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is going to be number 3. It's going to be in the middle. All right, so we're going to stop. This is our little, we'll put our hook through. We're going to count until we get to 2 in front of the marker band. Oh, that's an extremely wide band. Let's not use that. So if you have a look here, we've got 1 and 2. So I'm going to go through this one here. Now, I'm going to unravel everything by mistake. Come back here, you. The beauty of these is if you do unravel it, it's just little slip knots. So you just pop your hook in and they're sort of already knotted for you and they sit there waiting for you to reattach them. So I'm going to put my hook in through my next stitch, but I'm going to squish my little wing down. I'm not going to stuff these. They're not going to be stuffed, okay? And this is the band that I finished on, okay? So let's put my hook through there. This band is the last band that I finished on. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take the stitch marker out of this. I'm going to go through and do a slip stitch. So I'm going through and I'm going to pull this band through all of them like that, okay? So this is going to be the band that I start with. So I have a slip stitch on my wing. I'm going to take one side off. I'm going to pull it through the stitch on my owl and reclaim and do my normal connection like that. Then I'm going to go through the next stitch and I will pick the next 2 that are here, okay? And again I'm going to pull a stitch through both sides and just do a single crochet like normal. I'm going to take my marker band out. I'm going through my next stitch. I'm going to go through the next 2 that I can see, and I'm literally just going to keep going through. I'm going to make sure I've only got, yep, there we go. I don't want to catch a stray band on the way. Here's my next one. Pull it through and do my crochet. Pull it through and do my crochet, and this will be my last one here. I'm just going to see if I can capture a couple of bands, just probably like that, and pull through. So I have the wing attached here. I'm going to keep going around until I get to the other side. And again, use your own vision to work out whether you think the marker band is in the correct spot or not. It might be that it's not. Once you've connected that first wing, you might think, oh, a bit dodgy there. I sort of want it, I might start it here because this might have gone further than you expected. If you squish it like this, is that halfway? You know, maybe that should be the halfway. It will probably look a bit better if this one is the halfway. So just approximate it how you see fit, what looks best to you. So this is the band. I've got 1, 2, so I'm going to go do my single crochet in this one, and then keeping that loop on, I'm going to look at what I have here. I want this to be a slip stitch, and it is a slip stitch. I was smart on that one. I finished on a slip stitch. So take that out. Here's my slip stitch. So go through my stitch here on my actual body, take one side of the slip stitch, pull it through, join together, and do my single crochet. And now I go through the next stitch, and you're just going to work out where you want this. I'm going to take that stitch, the marker stitch out. And you're going through 2 on the front and 2 at the back, so that you're actually sort of squishing these wings down and joining them. And they don't need to be stuffed. So again, I'm just going to go through here, pull through, and let's keep going round till we get to our stitch marker. So that is how we join the wings. Now when I'm going to go to the first stitch, and I'm going to put my first stitch in and move my stitch marker so that it's sitting on it. There we go. Okay, so this is the wings. All right, it doesn't matter which way you choose as front or back. I think this is where I did my colour change, so I'm going to do that at the back. This can be the front. Now what we need to do is get our eyes ready, because our eyes are going to be going at the front here. Okay, so I've done one eye, you're going to do 2 eyes. I'm going to put that to one side. Now I do the actual magic ring in the opaque. That's not very nice. Find a bug in there. Lovely jubbly. And our magic ring is 1, 2, 3, 4, and again 5. You can do it on your hook. It really doesn't matter if you do it on your hook. Wrap once and twice. And you're doing 5, so get 5 bands ready. You can do it on your loom. It doesn't matter. You've seen how to do it on your loom. Let's make sure when we twist that we don't get it too tangly. There we go. That's a little better. So, magic ring with 5. Putting them all the way through, aren't I? Now, budge that around, go through your first stitch. Now I'm going to be using my mixed bag of bands, and we're doing an increase in every stitch. And I'm sorry, I should have done a slip stitch here because it's a colour change. So do a slip stitch, put your stitch marker on here, and go through and do another one in there, because we're doing, as I said, an increase in each one. And now the second stitch, you're doing 2 in here as well, increase in each one. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, last stitch, 1, 2. Now you're doing an increase in the next round as well, so go through your first stitch, put your stitch marker back on so you know where to finish. 1, go through for a second, 2, and our last stitch. Remember, you're making 2 of these. Here's our first stitch. You're going to go through and we're doing a slip stitch, so go through all of them and you need to just tie off. Okay, take your stitch marker out and tie that. We're going to use that as an anchor band. Okay, I don't want it coming undone. It's a jelly band, so it could. Alright, now make sure that when you do this you have the eyes the same way. So if you look at one way, you've got like this way I have the loops coming up, this way I do not. So this is the way I want to push my eye through, like so, and I do actually clip them together before I put them in. Just with one click, I find it easier. As I said, these are going to be anchor bands. We're going to have 4 of these, 1, 2, 3 and 4, okay, at each side. Alright, back to our little owl. We're going to do 5 rounds in the opaque, okay, just single crochet. So let's do that. I will meet you back once we've all done another 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, and I will catch you back when we've done that. So at this point I've done my 5 extra rounds, and what I need to do now, I've got my little stitch marker in here, I need to place my eyes. Now the eyeballs, let's have a look here, are going to be in line with where the wings are. Okay, so you're going to have those in line with the wings. So here's my eyes, and I want them to be in line with where the wings are. So, and you can just sort of approximate where you want them so that they match up. Like I've gone through this, so I'm going to go through probably about here maybe, poke through to see, like I think that's going to be a bit lopsided, so let's maybe even push him closer. Does that look about good to you? Let's try here, and no, that's too high. I don't want it that high. So definitely try and work out where you want the eyes. I think that's going to be too close to the, so I'm wanting to go in between where these 2 are really, which is about here. And I'll poke this one. So I'm going to do mine there and there. So holding on to them so I don't lose anything, I'm literally going to poke the back through by spreading the bands around the backing like that. Okay, and as you can see they sort of go bloop up like this. That's not real, and that's a technical term by the way. Bloop. So what we need to do is anchor them down a bit, and that's where we're going to do our 6 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 9 o'clock and 12 o'clock. And I'm going to use the jelly bands because I've done the outline in jelly. And you want to try and just add like this all the way. That's 12 o'clock and 3 o'clock. Do one at a time, there's no rush. Here's 6 o'clock. These are little anchor bands. Okay, so make sure that they don't unravel. And then what you're going to do, make sure that they're positioned correctly, and with your hook at the back, go through a little hole and pull through. Keep it on your hook. Find where the next one could possibly go. Again, it's going to be up to you to decide where this is all going to go. So there's my first 2. So this is number 1. This is number 2. Go through it like that, so that you then just have the second band on your hook. Find where the third one is going to want to join. I'd say about maybe here. Pull the third band through. I have it here on my hook. If I twist everything round, there we go, one over the other. If you need to just place it somewhere, place it on top of the stub for the eye, just as you're getting everything sorted. Here's my fourth one. Now you can see I think that one is a bit too close, so I'm going to unravel that last one that we just did. I'm going to put my stitch marker on here just to hold it in place. So let's try that again. This one here, let's try through here. And you just want it so that it sits. You just don't want it to be sort of tuckered up like that. You don't want it being pulled too badly, but you don't want it looking sort of odd and out of shape. Maybe try this one. So it's trial and error. I think that one's going to look good. And let's get that fourth one in. Come back here, you. I think through this one will be good for the fourth one. Let's try and see how it looks. Oh, you escaped me, you tricky little thing. Come back here. Yep, I think that will look okay. So there's 3, here's 4. Number 2 is on my stitch marker, so I'm going to put the one that's on number 2 on my hook, take the stitch marker off. Let's collect up these bands like so. Does it look okay? I think it does. So what we're going to do, let's make sure that they're not too stretched. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4. So 1 and 2, and then 1 and 2. We're going to connect these 2 together with another band. I'm going to use opaque so it doesn't come apart as easy. This is just so that they don't get pulled too badly. Okay, don't worry about the end because that's going to be inside. You're not going to see it. So that's how I attached the first one. Let's do the second one. Again, you're going to need 4 bands as anchor bands. How you attach them inside is completely up to you, really. I mean, I like to condense them down into the lowest denomination of bands at the back, so that's why I sort of hook one over the other. So there we go, I've got 4 there. I'm going to take my stitch marker off and do this first band. So I want it in line here. I'm going to go through and pull it back, see if that looks about right. I think so. I'll put a stitch marker on it so it doesn't escape me. And let's see where this one could go. You want it to be at about the same same area that the other one is on the other side. Again, we can put the stitch marker, collect them all up. There we go. Let's do this number 3. Thank you very much. And we'll try it here. So I'm collecting them all up on my stitch marker at this stage. Yep, I like that. So I've got all 4. I've got 3 on my stitch marker. Oh, there's the other one is here. Whoopsie, it came off my stitch marker. So I'm going to attach those 2. Okay, and then I'm going to attach these 2. I'm holding these 2 together. I'm going to take the stitch marker out. Have the 2 here. You can put one over the other on these, but I think it probably makes it a little bit tight. I think it probably will stretch it a bit. So I'm going to take a single opaque and join them together that way, like that. And again, just shove that under there, just so that it's out the way. So that's how I attached the eyes. Now we need a little beak. You can do the beak whatever colour you like. I'm going to stick with an orange beak just because I feel like it. You can do it a darker purple, you can do it a black, whatever you like really. And the little beak is just going to be like this. Okay, so the beak is a little bit funky. Take 2 orange bands, or whatever colour bands you choose, wrap once and twice, push down to the base of your hook. You're going to take another 2, wrap once and twice, like that, and another 2, wrap once and twice. Okay, so you have 3 pair on your hook. Take a pair, put it on the end of your hook. You're going to move these first ones over and these second ones over, like that. Not these ones. Push down, reclaim. Okay, so you have it like that. Take another pair, wrap once and twice. So you have wrapped bands, the bands on the bands, and wrap bands. Now take another 2 on the end of your hook. You're going to slide these over. You're going to slide these 2 loops here over, and the ones that are the other end of it, and then these. Try and make it so it's not too messy. And this is how I've done the beak, like this. Okay, now I have to attach it inside. Let's put that there. So what we're going to do is put one side under this eye and one side under the other eye. Okay, so I'm going to take my hook. Now I have a stitch marker ready. I'm going to take one side off my hook. Okay, and what I need to do is put my stitch marker on there, or a C-clip. C-clip works just as well. On the other side, you're going to hang on to it with your fingers. You can use another stitch marker if you need to, but you can just hang on to it. What you're going to do is you want it to be in this little V area here. Okay, so you're going to have one side here and one side here. I'm going to poke my hook through this first side where I want it to come through, which is right there, and I'm going to drag back just these first 2 loops from one side. Okay, there they are, right here. I'm going to put my stitch marker back on just to hold it in place. Okay, there it is, right there. It's not going anywhere just yet. On the other side, make sure that you're lined up, which is over here, and do the same thing. Pop your hook through the 2 bands on this side. Oopsie, get off you. There we go. Take your stitch marker off, make sure your hook has those 2 bands, pull it through. Don't worry about that one getting in the way, that doesn't matter. Now we've got both of these on our hook. Take your stitch marker off, grab a band. I'm using opaque because I feel that they don't come undone as easy, and just tie a slip knot nice and tight at the back like that. And that is how I did his little beak, or her little beak, his little beak. Now what we also need to do is stuff him before we close him. Right, so let me grab some stuffing. 100% polyfill is what I use. You don't have to. I've had people use cotton wool balls, tissues, grocery bags, stuffing from pillows, all sorts of things. You're going to stuff him and try not to overstuff. Sometimes when you overstuff, you actually pull the loops of your crochet apart, and it can look a bit holy, I suppose is the right word for it. There we go. You want him quite well stuffed, but not overstuffed. Okay, so I think that is going to do me good, because this is where I stitch up like this. Okay, so I think just about like that is good for me. Now, what I'm going to do, as you can see, this is a little bit far. I'm not going to worry about that too much. I'm going to push this down because I can always make it sort of come up again after the fact. If you've gone too far with this, don't worry about it. You can just backspace a couple of stitches. It won't matter. So I'm going to backspace maybe say 1. I'm going to take that one out. Okay, and I'm going to go to this one and use this stitch here as a slip stitch. And what I'm going to do is put my hook through like this and add it to this, so it's a slip stitch. I've got all of them on there. Okay, then I'm going to go through the stitch that's in the middle, make sure my stuffing isn't in the way, and I'm going to pull 1/2 of my slip stitch through like so. Okay, and do a single crochet. Then I'm going to go to the next stitch to it and the next stitch at the back, and again I'm going to pull a single band through and do a single crochet, and you're going to do this till you get to the top. Make sure you go through both, either side. Now, for this bit at the ear, this is what we're going to be calling the ear. You're going to go through and do a slip stitch. You're going to add that one to it, and you're going to tie it in a tight slip knot like that. But we don't want this to just be the only little sort of fluffy bit on the ear. So what we're going to do is go through about the same area, grab a couple more bands, and just do slip stitches. Not all in the same stitch. Do probably about 3 like that. Okay, so I've got 3 little stitches in slip stitches there. Okay, and then on this side we're going to do the same thing, but this time go through that same middle stitch, and we're doing a reverse single crochet. So you're pulling it through, one over the other, and then go to the next stitch on either side, and you're doing a reverse single crochet. So you're pulling it through, doing a single crochet and join, and then to the next one. Make sure that you're getting each of them. So I'm on this one now, and this one. Getting both stitches from either side. and joining them together. I'm going to do a slip stitch, join together, pull tightly, and then I'm going to do slip stitch again. Oopsie, come on you. And one more time. Like that. And I'm going to trim these. Now I'm going to, first of all, I'm just going to sort of squidge him into shape so that there's a bit of stuffing up the top here. Now these little loops, I'm just going to snip. And you can just snip them at the top, or you can just snip them like that. That's what I'm doing. Or you can just, go through each one like that. But I'm just going to snip them so they're a little shorter. I don't need them quite that long. Come on you. I'll just snip my fingers off. These scissors are so sharp. Apparently I'm going to. So there we go, that's that. Now you can leave him like that. I quite like the fact that owls sort of have these eyebrows on them, so you can add these eyebrows as well if you wish. Now when I added the eyebrows, I did the opaque colour for them because I felt that it was a nice contrast to the multicoloured bands. And again, you're just going to start at the join here for the two eyes, and you're just going to do single crochet in each of these stitches. And this is a little extra you don't need to do. He's perfectly fine as is. But if you want to do the eyebrows, personally I like the eyebrows. And you want to go to about, I guess about here, so that you're in line with where the ears are. And then you're going to do a slip stitch, add the loop to it, and chain 1, 2, and 3. Pinch, go through the other side. Now you're going to skip 1 and 2 and come in on this third one here, just like this, and do a single crochet and pull that through. And then you're going to go through these loops again, these little stitches, one more time. Now the eyes, you have to sort of bend them when you've finished doing your stitches. So we're coming back the other way. See how it sort of sticks up and gives his eye sort of that little hooded look. Here's my first stitch, so I'm going to go through my first stitch again. Oops, make sure I don't go through my jelly band. Come here, it's just the eyelid, thank you, or the eyebrow. There we go. I'm going to go through with a slip stitch, 1 over, like so. Then I'm going to move my hook, so I've got a slip stitch here. I'm going to move my hook to the opposite side And with my band, pull it through. And now we go up over the other side like this. So we're just doing exactly the same as what we did for the other eyebrow. It's tricky here because I have an anchor band. You have to go either, you have to pick which side you're going to go, one side or the other. Doesn't really matter. Again, when you're about level with the ear, let's see if I am. Yeah, probably. I'm going to do a slip stitch like so, and then I'm going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3, pinch, move your hook so it comes through the other way, and again you're going to skip 1 and 2 and come into 3, which is here. Single crochet, whoopsie, let's try that again. Single crochet, pull it through all of those loops, and you're coming back to the middle of his nose again, or his beak, just with single crochets. You can stretch it out into shape in a minute when we finish this. Oops, come back here, no escaping. Thank you very much. So I'm back at the beginning here. This is my little band. I'm going to go through that center one and tie them all in a knot like so, and then I'm going to push my hook from the back. I'm going to grab that band and pull it all the way back to the inside, if I possibly can, of my little owl, because it will fly back in. But there are his eyebrows, her eyebrows, his eyebrows. And that's our owl done. There you go. I hope you enjoy making. Take care. Bye.